Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how to replace the front air suspension on this 2005 Range Rover. My name is Jeremy, this is Region Automotive, and let's get to work. Before we get started, I'll show you guys just quickly why I'm replacing the front air suspension. I would imagine this is the only symptom as of why you'd be replacing it. So as you can see, well, already the vehicle looks kind of weird and kind of tilted. And then this side is completely slammed. So yeah, that's pretty much if your Range Rover suspension's sitting, or your Range Rover looks like it's sitting on the ground in one corner, that's pretty much the only symptom or indicator of a blown air suspension. Before we lift it up to work on the air suspension, you'll have to put the vehicle in service mode. And funny story, that is actually how the air suspension blew. I wanted to put it up on the lift just to inspect all the front components because I'd like a slight wheel shake at higher speeds. So I wanted to lift it up and inspect like the tie rod ends, ball joints, sway bar links, all that stuff. So I was doing the service mode and I like lifted up all the suspension, and as it's lifting up, I heard just like a huge rush of air come out from the right front side. So it blew the airbag when I was trying to put it in service mode to protect the air suspension, which is kind of ironic. But anyway, you'll have to go to your diagnostic, and then we're going to air suspension, special function, and then we're going to go transport mode. So yeah, follow all these instructions, set blocked off, ignition off, whatever, okay. The air suspension is not in transport mode. Do you want to set it? Yes. So right now it's pumping everything up. Yeah, so you can hear that airbag leaking once it pumps up. The air suspension system has been set, okay. And then once we turn the ignition off and get out of the car, it should drop down to fully lowered. So just like that, the vehicle is fully lowering. I just, again, turned the ignition off, got out of the vehicle till the suspension is fully bottomed out. Now we're in transport mode or service mode. So next I'm going to lift it up, get the tires off, and then we will do one of the airbags. So one quick thing I did, because I heard the compressor going on and off back there. I think it was maybe compensating because it detected an air leak in the front strut. So once the vehicle is fully lowered, I just disconnected the battery just so the air suspension's not guessing if it should be up or low or whatever. We need it fully lowered like this, and then disconnect the battery. So now we have it lifted up and the tires off. First, we're gonna work on the sway bar link. So this is an 18mm nut. I'm gonna spray some penetrant here. I would recommend, if you have, or if you can borrow again, impact, either pneumatic or electric. That will help us, our best odds, just to zip that bolt off. Hopefully it doesn't spin on the backside. Let's see if it just wants to come off here. You ready? Yeah, so it's spinning. If yours is spinning, you can get a 17mm wrench, and there's a wrench. See how the bolt's spinning now? So there's a wrench relief on the back. And just like that, the sway bar will come out. So just to show you what I was doing on the backside there, there's a little cutout for the wrench right there. It's a square cutout, so I had my 17mm on like that just to hold it from spinning. So now that we have that removed, we just have our couple ABS sensors here. Just take those out of the prep. Just be careful not to damage the grommet or the sensor. Just like that. That guy slides out easily. Okay, so we have those 3 wires disconnected. Next, we're going to work on the big strut bolts. Those are going to be pretty big. Both our nut and the head of the bolt is 22mm. I have one socket for now, so I'm just going to spray penetrant on the threads. And again, we're going to see if we can just shock this nut off. If this starts to spin, then you'll have to get a 22mm wrench, socket, whatever. If I don't have one, it should be loose enough where I can put a adjustable wrench on that one, but let's see if we can just shock and get this nut off. Yep, got the top one off. Let's see if we can do the bottom. Make sure your socket is fully seated on the nut before you give it torque. That bottom one's not moving, so I'm going to put a breaker bar on there first. See if our breaker bar does the trick. Oh, that's on there tight. This is a good chance for me to show you the magic of heat. If you have a seized bolt like this, we're going to heat the bolt, the thread, the bolt, the end of the, or the nut, the end of the bolt. Make sure all the wiring's out of the way. There's no rubber that you're not replacing. Make sure you're not heating anything up that you don't want to. But yeah, we're just going to heat the area. Get it pretty hot. See if that little bit of heat did anything. Just like that, the magic of heat. I love it every single time. Okay, so we have those loose. I'm guessing these are going to be pretty seized in here, so I'm just going to leave the bolt on a little bit, tap it with a hammer to get the studs out there. So as expected, these are pretty seized, so I'm going to try a big switch here. Yeah, so if your bolts are seized, you can see there, for one, make sure your nut is threaded on flush with the end of the bolt so you don't mushroom the nut or the end in the bolt. And then if they're still seized after hitting them with a hammer, yeah, just spun, like pretty much just freeing up that rust inside of the knuckle there. So now this top bolt is free, so I'm just gonna get my impact down there and free up that bolt as well. Okay, we got some good news here. I took the caliper, just two, I believe it's 17 mil, 16 mil, I think, bolts, the two caliper bracket bolts. I just bungeed it aside there so I don't hang it on the hose. And then this way that gave me more direct access to that big 22 millimeter bolt. So yeah, I just spun it with my ratchet in reverse forward until it finally broke the rust free in the knuckle there. And then I was able to tap them both out from the backside. And I think I was worried that this knuckle's gonna be seized to the strut, and it came right off with the bolt, so that's great. Yeah, so next we're gonna lower it down. We're gonna have the 3 strut bolts on the top. There's 1 airline on the top. I'm gonna attempt to take the strut bolts off, like carefully lower the strut out and then disconnect the line when it comes out. If not, I'm debating, I may or may not take this wheel liner off. It actually doesn't look too bad, just some 10 millimeter nuts and bolts. The only thing I'm worried about is breaking the bolts, so that's why I'm not doing it right now. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna try the easy way first. So I'll lower it down, I'll show you the bolts we're gonna take off. So once we're lowered, it's just 3 standard top strut bolts here. They're 16 mil. Okay, so I'll get those 3 bolts out. Our strut's starting to lower, so that's good. And then we'll lift it back up and support the strut just so it doesn't come ripping down on that airline. I'll show you guys a little shortcut too, just to save you some time. So this compression style of fitting, the airline comes through there, and then you slip this guy over top the end of the airline, and then it seats on this little compression fitting here. And then as it tightens, the fitting bites onto the airline. So there's no fixed fitting on the other side of the airline. So my little trick here, to save yourself some time, you can just cut right at the line. The strut came down there. So just to show you the 2 struts side by side, new one on the right, obviously, old one on the left. It looks like these ones may have been replaced before. The ones I got, midline brand on Amazon called Auto Shack. They're like $300 CAD for the 2 shocks. Will these last for 5 or 10 years? Probably not. Will they work? Get the car running, get it moving? Yep. just to show you the old fitting, what I was talking about there. So yeah, the hose is going through, and you put that little compression style in, and you slip it into the end of the fitting, and then when you tighten down, it's going to use that compression fitting to bite into the hose. And then looks like there's a bit of sealant thread tape on there, so I'll probably do the same. But it does have an O-ring there, so I might throw... I don't think I need thread tape, to be honest. So yeah, I'm just going to slip the hose through, put that fitting on. Well, first my threaded fitting, and then put that compression fitting on in the strut, tighten it up. It's a 12 millimeter socket and or 12 millimeter head wrench, and should be good. So there's a little threaded style on, compression style, make sure the taper fitting goes into the thread, and then a little bit of hose sticking out there. So I'm just going to stick that hose in the fitting, thread it on, tighten it up, and it should be good. Okay, so got our fitting on there. I don't think it needs to be too tight just because it's brass fitting. So it's about halfway there. I was able to get a 12 on. Sometimes I got some weird angles, so it's kind of starting to like strip out the brass, so just be careful of that. But like I said, just kind of go to it snug. I don't think it needs to be too tight. So now I'm gonna install everything in reverse. I figured I would show this step since this is what gave me the most trouble on the driver's side. So I have my strut just kind of sitting on the control arm. Nothing's bolted up yet, except I have the airline connected. So what I'm going to do is kind of hard actually because the air struts, like I tried bolting it to the bottom knuckle and then like putting the jack on the bottom and lifting it up into the holes like you normally would. But the air spring kept on compressing before I could get the screws aligned. So luckily with the air strut, it's actually a little bit lighter than the spring strut. So yeah, pretty much like I said, I have everything kind of loosely in there, airline connected. So now I'm just going to lift up the strut, and I'm going to try to get one of the studs through this hole here, and I'm going to get my nut started just to hold it, and then I'm going to work my way around and get the studs lined up and the nuts lined up, and then I'll tighten it up with my impact, and then that will be bolted up. So like I said, this gave me the most trouble installing on the driver's side, so I figured I'd show it on the passenger side. I'm just going to take this cap off. It makes it easier to see what's going on the top of the strut there. It's just a little plastic cap that pops off. I also remembered I set a block between the bottom of the strut and the control arm just to raise up that space so I don't have to lift it up as much. Okay, so I just have a couple studs started there. Get the nut on to hold it. Okay, good. Get this nut on. And yeah, this is a similar issue I had with the third nut or stud. It's kind of like just slightly running into the wall there. So what I did, or what I'm going to do, is stick a screwdriver and just like, the stud's kind of like held under tension. It's catching on that hole. So I'm going to stick a screwdriver just to pry it, just so it pops through. There you go. Just like that. So I just kind of tightened those up, and then I was just wiggling the strut, and then I got the screwdriver just to get the tip of the stud to go through the hole. So now we're all through, so that's good. Like I said, that was the toughest part, so we'll just tighten everything up with the impact. Okay, so now that we have both struts in, let's try pumping up the front end and see if it'll lift up and if it'll hold air. So I just hit front. Should be pumping up the front. Yeah, looks like it's raising there. Very slowly raising the front end here, bit by bit. I don't hear any leaks so far, so that's good. This bag should be, yeah, I go under there, I touch that bag, that's nice and hard. So I know that's filling up with air, and I know that's not leaking, so that's good. All right, guys, that's gonna call it for this video. Hopefully it was informative for you. If you have any questions on anything with the repair, the procedure, bleeding, airing up, whatever, let me know in the comments down below. And if not, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and have a good day.